It's time for more VB MMA picks for UFC Fight Night, Blanchfield versus Barber on Saturday, May 31st from the Apex in Las Vegas. VB MMA picks is brought to you by SX.bet, the world's largest blockchain betting exchange, and VB joining us today from his palatial estate in the capital of Narrative Nation. It's George Gennaro, VB.
Yes.
What's up, gentlemen?
What's up, my friend? You have a great background over there, and
well, thank you. I thought I'd take it outside. Thought I'd switch it up. The UFC's on, vacation. I'm on vacation too. So, but always happy to chop up the next card with you, VB. Whenever you're ready.
Same.
We'll put him to work here, VB. But right now, we'll talk this card, including Blanchfield versus Barber. But let's get rolling here on Fight Night from Las Vegas. We're going to cover 3 fights, including one to start off here. Let's look, George, at lightweights here with Markel Medeiros, 28-year-old from Dallas, Texas. He's fighting out of Colorado, 10-1, 2-0 in the UFC. Comes in off of a split decision win over Hubbard just a couple of months ago as a $1.55 favorite. He's up against 29-year-old Belgium, Balaji Oki from Brussels. He's 9-2, 1-1 in the UFC. He's off of a round 1 submission loss to Chris Duncan last September as a 190 favorite. We're on the preliminary card here, George, with a couple of lightweights.
VB, you want to start us off?
Or take it away, my friend. Yes.
Okay.
Take it away.
All right. This is a good fight. I like this fight. This could very well have been like a main event on a Dana White Contender Series fight. And when I see 2 young guys who could have easily been, fighting each other on a Dana White Contender Series, the plus money is always going to be of interest to me, especially 2 guys who both cashed as underdogs on their Dana White Contender Series episode. I'm leaning Markel Medeiros. I like Markel. I think we're getting this could be a nice buy low spot on him. I think people might be down on him because of his performance on that UFC Mexico card. But that was an elevation. If I'm not mistaken, that was elevation against a 20-plus fight veteran in Hubbard. I'm not sold on Bolaji. I like Markel's gym. I like how everyone at the gym right now is preparing for big fights. Like Sugar's obviously preparing for a title fight. Mario Bautista's preparing for a big fight against Patchy Mix on the same card. I think Markel Medeiros has higher upside. And you give me plus 150, I'm going to go with Markel Medeiros. And I also like when these young guys do quick turnarounds. It tells me they didn't take any damage their last fight, and they're trying to stay active. And Markel just fought 6 weeks ago. So give me Markel Medeiros. No, I haven't bet it yet. I'm going to wait and see. I want to see what props look like on Tuesday, Wednesday when they come out. But my pick is Markel Medeiros.
Right,
yeah, I hear birds singing. Yeah, nice.
They agree.
Yeah, Markel Medeiros actually joined our spaces a couple of weeks ago. It was pretty cool.
Oh, all right. I missed that, I think.
Yeah, he was in our space a couple of weeks ago. He's a nice guy, I think he's a good fighter. He's a good striker. He has good job. He throws his job very well. He has some problems with wrestling, though. Hubbard was able to take him down a couple of times. He took him down in round 3. He took him down in round 1. Round 3 was absolute coin flip of a round. And they gave it to Medeiros. So live, I was thinking they were going to give it to Hubbard, even though I scored the fight for Medeiros. Judges sometimes overvalue the control. And they gave it to Medeiros, but that fight was very close, And sure. I'm not high on Austin Hubbard at all. So looking at that performance, to me, kind of devalued Medeiros as a fighter. I don't think he's as good, and he's a good striker. He has good knees, but his overall power doesn't really translate, in the UFC. He was knocking people out. Even in Contender Series, he got the knockout, but I don't think that he can knock Oki out. Meanwhile, Oki, in my opinion, has one punch knockout power. He has good knees, very good knees. He has a couple of finishes with his knees. And he was, winning the Duncan fight. Let's be honest. He was piecing Duncan up before he got
Yeah.
choked. So when you're talking about like recency bias, George, I mean, guy lost his last fight. Isn't that recency bias? Like, don't you think Oki would have been a bigger favorite here? He had a lot of hype before the UFC debut. I don't think the Cuomo fight was split either. I think he won every round there. I watched today. I don't know how that's a split decision. It's pretty crazy. And I know a lot of sharp people bet Oki against Duncan, and he was looking good. Live line was blowing up. But Duncan kind of improved last few years in ATT. He's training with guys who can wrestle, who can defend takedowns and all that. And I just think that he's the guy who's going to improve more. Medeiros is just born striker, in my opinion. He's never going to be a well-rounded fighter, in my opinion. And I think Oki could be live for some kind of maybe guillotine. He could be live for a knee knockout. He could be live for a hand knockout with his hands. Meanwhile, Medeiros just fights close every fight. So I'm gonna go with Oki here. The line is a little bit. Again, right now it's moving. I mean, some line movement today actually. A few days ago, it was a little bit higher. Yesterday it was lower. I took -170 yesterday. Pretty happy with that number. It's a little over 60%, so I don't have the problem with that line. I think it should be like 67% minimum here, or maybe 70. So I took him yesterday, and now I'm gonna take it for the show's sake, as we do every week. On SX it's -199, but that's because somebody's trying to get like plus 200 on Medeiros.
VB, did Oki speak when he came into the spaces, or was he just lurking?
No, he was speaking with us, but it was Medeiros who came onto my spaces. Medeiros came to my spaces.
Yeah.
Well, everybody wants to be in the best space on MMA Twitter, and
He ain't coming back if VB's going to pick Oki.
That's the VB space.
I'm sorry, but here's what I'm looking at here. -190. Maybe I can get 170 or -170 here for the show's sake. I have 200 on Oki already, but this is for the show. Let's see if this gets filled. I would be happy with this. Or maybe I should try 165. Who knows? Maybe it gets filled also. Always trying to get the best line on SX, and I just put it in. So we'll see if it gets filled or not. But before that, we can talk about the next fight.
Okay, I wanted to hear more.
VB, I also wanted to add. I mean, Medeiros was -135 against Hubbard, right? That was the closing line, I believe, and it turned out to be a -135 fight. I bet Medeiros that fight. That was sweaty. That was greasy. But I still think there's room for for growth, for improvement. I like his athleticism. I like his build. And on top of that, Oki, we've seen Oki not cover a price as a favorite. He's coming off a loss where he demonstrated some questionable ring IQ shooting on Duncan, giving Duncan that guillotine opportunity. I think Oki's not I could definitely see Oki saying, you know what, I'm not going to grapple this fight because I still have memories of being choked out the last time I grappled. So if it's a pure striking kickboxing match, yeah, I like Medeiros' chances, especially at +150. Because we've also seen Oki kind of be a low volume striker. So right. You add that up, I'm going to go with I'll take Medeiros, but close fight. I would not be surprised if it ends up being a close fight and we're both wondering who won.
George, thing is in MMA, I think in lightweight, 53% go to a decision, 47% of the fights doesn't go to a decision. So half of the fights doesn't hit the scorecard. In that case, who wins? We're talking about like this fight already went to a decision. What if it doesn't go to a decision? Because half of the fights doesn't go to a decision, right? They're not favor Oki here big time. That also adds. When the line is close, whoever has a finishing upside should be decided, in my opinion. So I'm taking Oki, and it's like max bet. No, it's 2-in-1 units. So we'll see what happens.
Let's see. Ready to talk about the next fight.
All right. Yeah. I hope Markel comes back into spaces, and you have to explain yourself.
And I will remind them that I bet.
Yeah, that's right. You tell him, George. Okay. Let's talk. We're going to talk a couple of flyweight fights here. Main event, of course, and this one here with 33-year-old Alan Nascimento from Sao Paulo, 20-6, 2-1. The UFC he has won 2 straight, including a round 1 sub win over Hernandez, but that was back in January of 23. Was the slightest of dogs on that night. He's up here against Rafael Fijo, 32-year-old from Rio de Janeiro, 16-3, 2-1 in the UFC. His last UFC fight was a win over Osborne in March of 24. He was a 160 favorite in that one. You're in the performance bonus. Now, VB, these two were scheduled to meet last August, but Nascimento, another postponement here of one of his fights and some other injuries he's had. He was ill on that night, but finally gets a shot here with Fio.
I love Alan Nascimento. You know, he's one of my favorite fighters, even though he's very inactive. 2 years ago, he fought a guy named Carlos Hernandez, and you know, I said that night that if he loses to Carlos Hernandez, I may stop betting MMA because I had so much money on him. You know, I had very, very, very big money on him. Not only I had his money line, I had his ITD also, but money line was very big bet, and I was like so confident in him. You know, and Carlos Hernandez is not the best wrestler, not the best grappler. And this guy, in my opinion, is one of the, if not the best, he's one of the best grapplers in the division, you know? So I was very high on him in that fight. He came out in 3 minutes, choked him out, got the performance of the night. So, you know, they called me VP Nascimento for few months as a joke, you know, after that. I was screaming about Nascimento for weeks before that fight. So, yeah. And then he takes 2 year layoff, you know, 2.5 years even. So that's a lot of time to not fight. I don't like that. Rafael Filo, another great, great fighter in my opinion. Very explosive, very fun fighter. He has finishes on the ground. He has finishes on the feet. He was kind of winning some rounds against Mokaev, right? He was doing very well in that fight. He almost had Mokaev's knee completely destroyed. 9 out of 10 people would have tapped, in my opinion. Mokaev survived. And then he was able to actually get him submitted by rear naked choke. So that was a very good fight, back and forth. A guy who is undefeated, Mokaev, you know. And I would say the closest fighter who, you know, almost beat him was Jafel. So that's a very, very good performance there. But I don't think, like, you know, when this fight hits the mat, I don't think Filo is gonna out jiu-jitsu Alan Nascimento because I don't think anybody can out jiu-jitsu Alan Nascimento. And even we saw the fight with Tagir, you know, I actually think Alan won that fight, but you know they gave it to Tagir. I think nowadays they would give it to him because of the damage and submission attempts he had, but they gave it to him. And Tagir is another top 5 guy in my opinion, so that's not a bad loss. And in that fight, man, he was throwing up the subs, he was throwing up all kinds of like arm bars, rear, you know, he was getting up. And I don't think like Filo has that kind of wrestling, that kind of, you know, pressure, you know. So I just don't see him winning minutes here on the ground. Nascimento versus Hadley was so impressive too. You know, he was able to completely outclass Jake Hadley on the ground. And Jake Hadley is a good black belt. Jake Hadley just got a crazy finish, Scottish twister or something in PFL, you know. So that's a great win there. He completely like outclassed him. So only way I think Filo can make this fight close and maybe even turn to his side is with his power, because on the feet he has a lot of power. He throws very heavy. He just swings very, very heavy, and if he can land those, he could hurt somebody. So Nascimento with the ring rust possibly after 2.5 year layoff, right? There could be some kind of concern for him. But overall, I think Nascimento's job is good. I think his leg kicks are very good. At some point, I think his leg kicks are gonna slow down Filo. And then we're gonna see maybe in round 2, round 3. Then we're gonna see some wrestling, some jiu-jitsu. And I think Nascimento a high clip wins 2 and 3 in this fight. You know, I don't think Filo's cardio is as good as Nascimento's, especially in a grappling fight. So I'm taking Filo here, you know. Probably I would go 3 units, maybe I would go 4 units even on him because I'm just so high on him in general. But being out for 3 years almost is just so long, so I went 1 on him. And I'll try what I get on SX. Yesterday, actually, he was minus 160. I probably should have bet it, but for the show's sake, I didn't. And kind of regretting it now. As far as Oki goes, I actually canceled minus 160. I'm trying to get minus 160 on him. I will wait a few days. But let's fight Filo Nascimento. Where is it? Here we go. Here's it. Here we go. Minus 180 right now. I mean, 155 would be great, if he gets filled. If not, 160, 170 is fine also, I guess. But there we go, man. God loves a trier. Here we go. I have minus 155 on Nascimento, I just got it, so somebody filled it.
They're waiting on you on that one, VB.
Yeah, actually over here, like on the right, you can see who filled it. Shout out to this guy. But yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
What do you think, George? I see. I think I saw your screenshot of Philo in the DMs, and I think you're Philo here as a dog, right?
It's funny.
Family battle here.
We're going head to head. All right. If you love Nascimento, well, I love Jafel Filio. I think we're going head to head, 1 unit each on opposite sides. And let's break it down. I'm going to start with the Nascimento side. I generally look to fade 30-plus-year-old fighters coming off long layoffs. And this isn't just a long layoff. I mean, this is the longest of layoffs, over 2.5 years. And on top of that, I got to believe Nascimento is the all-time leader in fight cancellations. I counted 19 cancellations. This is a guy who is unable to get into the octagon. And I remember his last time, I believe it was his last scheduled opponent. I forget who it was. Was it Filio? No, it wasn't Jafel.
It was Asu Almabayev.
It was Asu. And I remember people on MMA Twitter saying, hey, this guy, enough with this guy. Just cut him already. I got to believe that sentiment got back to Nascimento. So we don't know if he's coming in 100%, but if he's 80%, 70%, he cannot pull out of another fight. He has to step into the octagon. Meanwhile, you got Jafel Filio, who has been patiently waiting for his next fight. He's only been out for like a year, and in between that, he took a grappling match. So I like that. I like that he's trying to stay active. And Jafel is one of my favorite fighters. Why? Because I like how he came into the UFC. I will always remember one of my favorite highlights is Jafel Filio. He wasn't supposed to win. The UFC put him in there as a sacrificial lamb because they wanted the undefeated Venezuelan kid who's at the gym. It used to be oh my God, I can't. Like Colby Covington's gym in Florida. What's the name of that gym? And I can't remember. I'm sorry. Damn it. Wherever he's from, that gym, I can't remember the name, but it was supposed to be
MMA Masters.
MMA Masters. Thank you. It was supposed to be for Roybert Echeverria to get into the UFC.
Oh, yes.
And Jafel Filio knocked him out, and I will always remember the look on Dana's face. It was Dana, Nick, Sean, and all of them were like, damn, look what he did to our boy. And that memory has always stuck with me. This is a guy that's always been counted out, always undervalued. So if the way you love Nascimento, that's how I love Jafel Filio. And I also bet him big against Mokaev. I had the money line. I had the submission at plus 2,000. I had the round 3 at plus 4,000. And I will never forget that we were this close. And Mokaev has not been the same since that fight. Yeah, he's still undefeated. Mokaev has an incredible record. As a pro and an amateur, he's like 35-0 as a pro and amateur. But Mokaev has not been the same since that fight. Mokaev has not improved. He's not progressed. Like that was the one fight he should have tapped. That would have humbled him. And guess what? He's probably still in the UFC. But I know Filio will fight for my money. And if this fight, as long as this fight's on the feet, give me Jafel Filio's power. Because we could very well end up with a match where they're two great grapplers and they just, for whatever reason, don't shoot, or they're waiting for the other guy to shoot and neither shoots, and it's entirely on the feet. yeah, I like Jafel Filio's power on the feet. I like that he's gonna go for it, and and he's also younger. He's like a year younger. You add up, a 33-year-old coming off a 2.5-year layoff, who's got 19 plus, 19 career pullouts, which I imagine most of them were his fault, or he's the one that pulled out. You add all that up, I really like Jafel Filio. I'm predicting right now this is the breakout performance for Jafel Filio. So 1 unit on Jafel Filio. I would have loved to have gotten that plus 185, but I'm happy with the plus 150 that I got yesterday.
Yeah, I like Jaffel too, my friend. I bet him in every fight, including Mogaev, and I think he's a very good fighter. I just think those leg kicks are gonna be a problem here. He gets hurt in a lot of his fights. Let's be honest, and when he gets hurt, he doesn't make good decisions. So, I just think that overall we have a guy who is like great fighter, but I'm not sure if he can keep it up 3 rounds. With Nascimento, I know he can. He has a bunch of 2, 3 subs in his record, so I'm pretty confident with him. If he goes later. So it's a great fight, man. I think both guys are gonna, fight top 15. Whoever wins here is gonna be up there. In my opinion, in this division. If Filo can stuff takedowns here, out grapple Nascimento, or get a finish, he's gonna be a force. I think he's a good fighter. I think he's top 15 regardless. If he loses here, I think he could win some fights right now at top 15. So Pastor is good. I don't get me wrong, George, but I think Nascimento is just something special about him. We'll see if he can keep it up. We'll see if this fight even happens because he's been out.
Yeah, that's the thing, man. Let's hope. I really hope this fight happens because we've already lost like 2 fights. We're down to 10 fights. We cannot afford to lose this fight.
We are back to 11 because one fight got rescheduled.
No, I think we were at 11, and then we lost. We lost the fight, and now that we lost 2 fights, but now the 2 guys left. They're fighting each other.
Yeah,
I think they're going to add somebody. They're going to add at least one more fight.
All right,
we'll see.
we're not wasting our time here with this one, but our guys showing their Brazilian family heritage here, and they'll duke it out here on Saturday night. Okay, I'm going to get to the women's flyweight main event between 2 top 5 contenders in Blanchfield and Barber here in just a moment. But first, you can follow VB MMA Picks on X and pick up his fight card for this Saturday night's card with Blanchfield versus Barber from the Apex here in Las Vegas. VB, you gave me the week off last week, but you weren't off. The road to UFC was the road to riches, and you gave those picks out for free. So what's going on this week in MMA, and how can everyone follow us when we're off for a week and still cash like you did with those bouts over there from Asia?
Yeah, it was great. Actually, my guy over here, George, and I was doing spaces together. Not many people join at 5, 6 a.m. in US, but we had fun, George. So it was very
great,
good.
man. It was a great 2 days of road to UFC, and the great thing is 8 of those fighters are now going to be on the UFC Shanghai card. So I can say, yeah, I saw their fights, I saw them live, and I kind of have an idea of what lines I'm looking for, what lines I'm expecting, and who I plan to bet. So yeah, that was a great 2 days, and it was great, being in spaces, doing the spaces. Thank you for joining my space, VB.
Yeah,
and of course,
absolutely.
spaces is always a must. It makes the cards better.
Yeah, we're gonna have space for this card next week. Also on Saturday live every week we have those. We get some live bets and all that. But as far as the picks go, link is down below for Pick City. I don't have the card ready right now. It's too early, and lines are not fully out, and some new fights are made. So waiting for those. And by Friday next week, I'm gonna have the full card ready. And hit me up on X so if you wanna get involved, or just go to link below. As far as these lines, we get very good lines on the show. So go to SX.bet if you want these lines, and it's a betting exchange basically. So if somebody's getting plus 150, you're gonna get minus 150. There is no week. If somebody's getting plus 150 on, like, let's say, normal book, you would get maybe minus 180, 190, right? So it's a great way to avoid paying like basically a tax in the book. It's just a one-to-one exchange. So yeah. As far as that goes, and yeah, let's talk about main event now. The line is going up and up as we speak. It's actually going up. and it's a good main event, for Apex. I don't mind it, but the line is getting out of hand, though. So, what do you think about this one, George? Take it away if you can.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'm not surprised you're saying the line is getting wider, because I'm checking now. I might want to get in on that before it gets too wide. Yeah, I finally started to tape it. I finally started to look into it, and I also heard some people's breakdowns of it. Shout out to those people doing early breakdowns, to give us some content on this weekend off. Yeah, but people are forgetting to mention the elephant in the room when it comes to Macy Barber. I apologize for the fireworks. I hope that's not disturbing the stream. But
it's fine. Raymond, can you introduce these fighters before we speak about them, if you can?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, BB. I missed my cue there. Flyweights here, top 5 contenders here on Saturday night with 26-year-old Erin Blanchfield from Elmwood Park, New Jersey, fighting out of New York. She's 13-2, 7-1 in the UFC. She bounced back from that first UFC loss to Manon Fiorot to take a unanimous decision win over Rose Namajunas last November as a -135 favorite for Macy Barber, the 5th-ranked contender. The 27-year-old from Greeley, Colorado, fights out of Milwaukee currently. She's 14-2, 9-2 in the UFC. George, she's only won 6 straight, including that unanimous decision win over Sermonara at UFC 299 in March of 24 as a $2 favorite. These two were scheduled to meet back in December of 2021. So we've been awaiting this matchup. Go ahead, George. Sorry about that. Uh-oh. Go ahead, George. Let me
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I wanted to say, all right, let's start with the Macy side. What a lot of people are forgetting, I haven't heard people talk about it yet. Macy Barber is coming off a serious health condition, one that put her in the hospital, I want to say, for at least a week, 2 weeks, where she had to be put on. And they didn't know what was wrong with her. They didn't know if it was staph, if it was tuberculosis, or they don't know. They ran a battery of tests, blood tests, x-rays, MRIs. And a week later, they still didn't know. And their best guess was that it's some sort of infection on her leg. And that, to me, is extremely concerning. Obviously, it has to be extremely concerning. So there's that. We don't know if she's recovered yet. And I'm surprised the UFC is giving her this fight, because Erin Blanchfield is one of the toughest fights that they could possibly give her. I thought they would have given her a softer landing coming off of that serious condition where she was in the hospital. She was posting pictures on her Instagram that she's in the hospital. And then on top of that, you look at Macy Barber's run. It's extremely, extremely questionable. Like, what weight do you give to the Caitlin Seminara win, where Caitlin I think she's pregnant. She's well into her 30s, and I think that could have been her retirement fight. I want to say last time I saw her Instagram, she was pregnant or about to get pregnant or getting pregnant. And then 2 of those wins on her win streak include the Andrea Lee fight, which I thought she lost. I was shocked that the Texas judges didn't score that fight for Andrea Lee, who came out in a cowboy hat, who's from Texas. Andrea Lee got 5 takedowns that fight. So that, to me, should have been an Andrea Lee decision. And then also the Miranda Maverick fight. I've taped that fight several times. Miranda Maverick won that fight. So, and then you've got a bunch of Macy's fights are like women who have since quit or since retired, or like have one win in the last 3 years. Like Andrea Lee's last win was 2020 or something like that, 2021. Then you have Erin Blanchfield, who has been in there with some of the best in the division, who's gone 5 rounds multiple times, who we know has a massive grappling advantage over a girl who's been taken down many times, has been taken down 15 times. So we know Erin Blanchfield sticks to the game plan. Even when she's not getting any takedowns, even in the 5th round against Manon, she was still shooting on Manon in the 5th round. And she's willing to throw volume. Even when she's getting hit with volume back, she's willing to throw volume. Her output is high. Her takedown output, her TDA output is high. I think this line is not wide enough. I mean, I'm thinking Erin Blanchfield minus 300 minimum. It should be Erin Blanchfield minus 300 minimum. Plus, they've called out each other in the past. There's some heat on both sides. So I'll be looking. I want to see what the finish props are like, but I see some strong potential for a finish. Maybe an Erin, I'm sorry, a Macy Barber early finish, Erin Blanchfield finish late type thing. But I really like Erin Blanchfield in this fight. What do you have, BB?
Yeah, it was about the time, George. Finally, we gotta agree on something.
Yeah, we agree, right? 2 disagreements. Now we're both on the same side.
Yeah, I think so. I have better line than this, so yeah, my bad. I moved it a little bit, but I got a good line on Erin, and I think she, like, honestly, is probably the best grappler, especially when she gets the takedown on top. She's very nasty. She's cold blooded as her nickname, and she's very like technical, man. Like she can do everything pretty much. She can go for a kimura. She can go for an arm triangle. She can go for a rear naked choke. She has all kinds of submissions in her record, and that's very rare in WMMA. Sometimes she has a problem with goes for a little bit physical. We saw the Tyler Santos fight. She had some problems getting her down. She had round one she lost. Round two she got the takedown. Round three Santos made a mistake and ended up on her back. So she had even in round three she had some moments where she was failing some attempts. So that's a little bit of a worry, but we saw that Macy Barber, she can defend a takedown against the cage, but when it comes to the like in the middle of the cage, she just can't defend single legs. She can't defend double legs, and she's not athletic enough to sprawl as good as she needs to when it's like a blast double leg or something like that. So she sometimes forgets the whizzer, to she just does a lot of mistakes. And I just think that somebody as good as Blanchfield, like serious black belt, is gonna take advantage of that, and um, you know, we saw like Macy Barber face like Andrea Lee, as you mentioned, George. She got taken down a couple of times by a striker there. Imagine what would be the line if Andrea Lee grappled Erin in a grappling match? She would be like minus 2,000. So it's a bad look for Macy, man. It's just very very bad for her, and I think that at some point this is gonna go to the ground, and when it goes to the ground, it could be a very short night for Barber. It could be a pretty quick stop. So I agree with you. I think the under is pretty good because we have a girl who hits very hard in Barber, and I think if she wins this fight, it should be a stoppage or knockout, right? So if she wins, it's by knockout, and we have Erin who, as soon as this hits on the ground, even in round one, round two, round three, round four, any round, she can get a back, she can get a rear naked choke anytime. So I'm gonna also take the under, George. At this point, the line is minus 250, so it's not like I don't know. I'm not jumping on it, because it's still top five girls fighting. So I rather take the under as a bet for the show. I'm gonna try plus 200 here because I'm gonna actually show you this guy's way. So if you look at the under here right now, a few books, the over is minus 230, right? So this is the VIG.
Mm-hmm.
It's plus 174. So if I try plus 230 on the under, I don't think it gets filled. But if I try plus 200, I'm pretty confident it will get filled. So I'm gonna go 50 on that. Maybe I will go a little bit more. Who cares? Let's go 70 on that. Yeah, on the under. So yeah, if this gets filled, good. If not, I will decrease the line a little bit more, and we'll see where it goes. Right. So I like the under with you, George. I think it's live both ways as I mentioned. So we are ready for Oki, and we are ready for the under here. We'll see if this gets filled by next Saturday. It for sure is getting filled, for sure. Every line I showed on the screen during the live recordings. Every one of them got filled by fight day. So yeah, I will wait. And one more thing with Erin also. Um, I think as she's getting older a little bit here, I actually think it's an advantage for her. You know, she was 23, 24, and she wasn't as strong. I think she's gonna be in a few years. So I think as this time goes on, now she's I think 27, or let's see, how old is she? She's still very young. She's still 26, but I think as this time goes on, that's actually gonna help her. You know, so I don't think it's gonna matter here that much after, like, last fight, but as time goes on, people are gonna say, oh, she's getting old. No, 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 it's better for a grappler. 30, 31 is where you want to be. So I think that Aaron has a lot of potential still. I think her title run is there one day. So go on.
No, I was going to say, that reminds me, I believe Aaron still has a chance to make a statement and say, hey, don't forget about me. Don't immediately go to Natalia Silva. If Erin Blanchfield finishes Macy Barber, she could make a statement to the point where the UFC says, you know what? We're going to do an Erin Natalia Silva title eliminator. So I think I like that we're getting, in terms of the under, I like that we're getting two girls who fight nasty. They have nasty demeanors. There's going to be a lot of heat on that fight during fight week. I mean, this week, starting tomorrow. And I also forgot to mention that Macy said, excuse me, during her interview, one of her interviews, she said she was having trouble breathing. She was having trouble breathing just walking up the stairs. And here she's about to fight Erin Blanchfield, who we know is going to put the pressure on her, put the volume on her, shoot multiple times on her, repeatedly keep shooting on her. Yeah, I really like the under. And
yeah,
let's look. I just wanted to show you. I just wanted to discuss, Macy's run. Okay, her last fight, Caitlin Seminara, who I think is pregnant, and for all we know, that was her retirement fight. Amanda Hebas, who's more of a strawweight than a flyweight. Andrea Lee, I think Andrea Lee won that fight. Jessica I think is retired, right?
Yep.
And who else am I forgetting?
Miranda Maverick. Listen, I bet Barber in that fight. She
Maverick
didn't win
won that fight. I would take Erin Blanchfield's last 10 rounds. Just her last 10 rounds in terms of strength of schedule, I would take those last 10 rounds. Even though she lost 7 of them, I would take those last 7 rounds over that entire body of work from Macy Barber since she lost that Alexa Grasso fight. So you add all that up. Yeah, I think Erin is the clear side for me. I think minus 300 is still value, or still has value potential, but I would rather play the under.
And don't forget, man, Moda Ferry fight. That's
the Roxanne fight.
Yeah, the
I mean, it's been a weird record. It's been a weird run for Macy Barber. And who else am I forgetting? The Montana De La Rosa. Montana's got 1 win since that fight, and it was against Andrea Lee. Yeah, you add all that up. Erin's a clear side for me, and I think the under is extremely live.
They agree with us. They put the fireworks out.
And so, what number would you play Erin by sub?
Giorgio character. Yeah, I think that
works.
What a sub I would play. I think I would do.
All planned, BB.
I can't say right now, but
what do you expect?
It has to be better. It has to be better. It has to be better than plus 150 at least.
Yeah. Okay.
At minimum, but I'm not saying I would play that, but. Let's see what they open it, because the under is plus 170, so it's like, sub can't be less than that, but
True. Okay.
We'll see. If it's plus 5, 6, of course, it's an insta click at that point. Haymaker. We'll see. I think the under is good here. It's WMA fight. I don't say that very often.
Oh, I want to say yes. Thank you. Haymaker. Great call. I think that's Macy's path. I will also be looking to play Macy by split, because guess what? The judges love Macy Barber. Judges love Macy Barber. If this goes to the decision, if Macy somehow found the cure to whatever was ailing her, to me that's her path. And if we get a nice number, I'm probably going to play it. Whatever that number is, I'll be looking at Macy by split.
All right.
All right, VB. Could you imagine? What are we doing here, VB? We should be in Narrative Nation with George. The
You guys are welcome.
backdrop,
Let's go.
the
Come on.
birds, the fireworks. It's almost as if it was contrived, VB, with George's spectacular and the presentation from your buddy, VB. Let's give him his props.
No, I gotta give it to George. Great background and great breakdowns. So
Thank you, sir. Thank you, gentlemen. VB, if there's something else you want to talk about,
no, we can get out of here. 3 fights. I think we made 3 bets. Hope Lascimento can make it to the damn cage, so this doesn't get canceled. Everybody in the comments, thank you for joining, especially on a Saturday. We should be watching UFC right now, but here we are watching VB MMA. So not bad. And Raymond and George, George always great content. If you want some
Thank you, sir.
narratives, follow this guy. If you want some other sports, follow
VB,
Raymond.
VB, what do I have to say? What do I have to do to get you out to come to UFC Shanghai in August?
The Prime Minister of Narrative Nation.
Give me a plane ticket. I may fly over.
All right, let me see if I win enough this week. All right, we'll see what we can do on a plane ticket for you.
All right, deal.
Yeah, well, and I'll tell you what, the way the old the cryptocurrencies, we got extra money to bet over the last few months. You could take care of all that betting at SX.bet, the world's largest blockchain betting exchange. Thank you to everybody in the chat. We'll be back, of course, next week with a big rematch. Dvalishvili and O'Malley at UFC 316, plus Pena and Harrison. We'll be back with our previews next week. Great job, everybody in the chat. Great job, BB. And, of course, thank you to George, the Prime Minister of Narrative Nation. For VB MMA Picks, this is Ramon Scott. Thank you for joining us.